The Trump administration has just unleashed a seismic policy shift that's rippling through immigrant communities across the globe, leaving countless individuals and families in a state of uncertainty and distress. With 75 countries now under a stringent freeze on green card processing, millions find their dreams of permanent residency in the United States halted abruptly, as if overnight. If you or someone close to you hails from one of these nations and you're tuned in right now, it's imperative that you absorb every detail I'm about to unfold, because amid this sweeping restriction lie vital exceptions, strategic loopholes, and viable routes that remain open, pathways that could still pave the way for your entry into America, facilitate family reunions, and preserve your pursuit of the American dream in the face of this formidable barrier. I urge you to remain engaged through to the conclusion, as the insights I'll share have the potential to profoundly alter your trajectory and that of your loved ones. Welcome, everyone, to U.S. Visa Info, your dependable hub for the most current developments in immigration policy, regulatory adjustments, and seasoned advice on maneuvering through the intricacies of the U.S. immigration framework. As your dedicated advocate in immigration matters, I'm committed today to dissecting one of the most consequential policy alterations in recent immigration history. Before we delve into the specifics, allow me to outline the structure of our discussion. Initially, I'll clarify the essence of this 75-country processing freeze and the rationale behind its enactment by the administration. Subsequently, we'll examine the visa categories under its influence and, crucially, those that escape its grasp. Following that, in the segment you won't want to overlook, I'll unveil all pertinent exceptions, alternative approaches, and lawful avenues that persist for individuals from these impacted nations. By the time we wrap up, you'll possess a thorough grasp of your position, the avenues still accessible, and the precise actions required to safeguard your immigration aspirations. If you're discovering U.S. Visa Info for the first time and seek consistent awareness of pivotal immigration shifts like this on a weekly schedule, I encourage you to subscribe immediately, activate notifications to catch our live sessions, and endorse this content with a like. Your interaction amplifies its reach to others in dire need of such guidance. Now, let's proceed directly to the core. Comprehending the freeze and its implications. Merely days prior, the State Department issued a declaration that has plunged innumerable families into limbo while prompting immigration legal professionals to labor intensively in devising client strategies. The administration has imposed a blanket suspension on immigrant visa adjudications for nationals from 75 specified countries worldwide, representing not a fleeting postponement or trivial procedural snag, but a comprehensive halt effective as of January 21, 2026, a measure that's presently operational at U.S. diplomatic posts globally. To articulate this plainly, immigrant visas pertain to the credentials enabling foreign citizens to relocate permanently to the U.S. and ultimately secure green cards, with this suspension chiefly aimed at family-sponsored immigration petitions. Thus, if you're a U.S. citizen or green card holder who has submitted a request to sponsor a spouse, parent, child, or eligible relative from one of these 75 nations, your application is now ensnared in administrative stasis. The reach extends further, ensnaring select employment-sponsored green card petitions in their concluding phases, signifying that even after enduring protracted, costly procedures involving employer backing, labor market testing, and advanced application stages, applicants from these countries might be barred from visa issuance. The commencement date of January 21, 2026, serves as a pivotal demarcation. Pre-date scheduled interviews or approvals could advance, albeit with nuances I'll elaborate shortly, whereas post-date elements are unequivocally subject to the freeze, introducing layers of complexity. Regarding the formal rationale, the administration cites apprehensions over public charge implications, as conveyed via their social media channels, expressing concerns that entrants from these nations might rely on ineligible government aid, thereby straining economic resources and imposing undue taxpayer obligations. Irrespective of one's stance on this justification, be it viewed as prudent or prejudicial, the present reality demands adaptation, and my role is to equip you with navigational tools and viable legal options to surmount it, affirming that avenues persist even amid this broad curtailment. On the roster of affected nations, many viewers are undoubtedly pondering their inclusion. To conserve time without enumerating all 75, I've curated a detailed resource accessible via a link in this video's description, a blog post cataloging every country with ongoing analyses and updates. I recommend reviewing it post-haste. For context, however, the list spans continents. Afghanistan features prominently alongside Albania, Algeria, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. Unexpectedly, the Bahamas, Bangladesh, and Barbados are encompassed. Bhutan, Cambodia, Fiji, Grenada, and Guatemala join the tally. Moldova, my birthplace, and Mongolia are listed, as are Morocco, Nepal, and Montenegro. Pre-existing constraints on Iran, Syria, Somalia, and Russia are amplified herein. This compilation's expanse is remarkable, traversing Asia, Europe, Africa, Central America, and the Caribbean. Transcending economic strata, political alignments, and cultural divides, unified ostensibly by public charge risks, though scrutinized by experts for evidential underpinnings. Clarifying impacted visa classifications is paramount amid prevailing misconceptions. The freeze zeroes in on immigrant visas leading to green cards, sparing non-immigrant categories at present. Practically, this implies tourist visas for leisure or events like the World Cup proceed unhindered. Work authorizations such as H-1B or L-1 for temporary employment remain unaffected. Student F-1 visas for university enrollees are exempt. The policy's precision on family and select employment immigrant paths means non-immigrant entries could serve as bridges to later status adjustments, a tactic I'll expand upon. Addressing prevalent inquiries flooding my communications since the revelation. Firstly, concerning post-freeze scheduled interviews. Encouragingly, embassy dispatches confirm their continuation. If pre-announcement booked, even post-January 21st dated, attendance is advised unequivocally, as it could sustain case viability versus indefinite deferral, with many approvals forthcoming absent additional 221G scrutiny, though some may encounter it, necessitating follow-up. Secondly, for pre-freeze approvals awaiting passport return, outcomes diverge case-specifically. Some receive visas enabling travel, others face potential revocations, underscoring the need for vigilant embassy liaison, status monitoring, and attorney involvement. Thirdly, the freeze's duration remains indeterminate, labeled until further notice, compelling preparation for prolongation while exploiting extant exemptions. Transitioning to essential exceptions and circumventions. Dual citizenship offers a prime advantage. If one nationality evades the list, leverage it, as in a Bhutanese Canadian utilizing Canadian status for processing, potentially via case transfer. National interest waivers present another robust option, particularly for healthcare or critical sector professionals whose U.S. contributions align with national priorities. Physicians, nurses, and specialists should consult attorneys promptly for waiver pursuits, given processing timelines. Critically, if already stateside from an affected country, green card adjustment via Form I-485 proceeds unimpeded, as the freeze targets consular processing abroad. Thus, act expeditiously on valid non-immigrant bases to secure status. Moreover, the freeze spares green card renewals, I-90, citizenship certificate replacements, and N-600 filings, alleviating undue alarm. K-1 fiancé visas seemingly elude inclusion thus far, with no reported denials, urging eligible U.S. citizens to advance petitions for partners from listed countries. Strategically, non-immigrant entry followed by internal adjustment circumvents the freeze for qualifiers, contingent on eligibility and basis validity. Immediate actions for those potentially impacted. Verify country status via the linked blog. Attend any scheduled interview. Initiate dual nationality transfers. Pursue national interest waivers with counsel. File adjustments if in country. Reconsider non-essential outbound travel to avoid re-entry hurdles. Maintain vigilance through subscriptions and reliable sources. In conveying hope amid this ordeal, acknowledge the legitimacy of your emotions. This policy fractures families and thwarts aspirations unjustly, yet immigration's labyrinthine nature harbors solutions. My experience aiding clients through bans and delays attests to waivers' efficacy and reunions' feasibility. This freeze, while formidable, yields to informed persistence via outlined paths. For queries or shares, comment below. I engage with all. Like to broaden reach? Subscribe to US Visa Info for weekly insights and live Q&As. For tailored aid, text 619-483-4549 domestically or WhatsApp internationally, details pinned and described. We're actively securing approvals and exceptions. Thank you for your attention. May this clarify your options and instill resolve. The American dream endures for the resolute. This is US Visa Info, your premier immigration resource. Until next, prioritize safety and family. Farewell. The initial shock of this announcement has understandably triggered widespread concern, but let's revisit the foundational elements to ensure comprehension. The State Department's directive halts immigrant visa issuance, focusing on permanent migration channels, thereby stranding family reunifications and select professional relocations. This isn't merely bureaucratic red tape. It's a deliberate policy pivot rooted in fiscal prudence, as per official narratives, aiming to mitigate perceived welfare dependencies. Yet, the selection of countries raises eyebrows among analysts who debate the empirical basis for such broad categorizations. Expanding on the list's diversity, it includes not only conflict zones like Afghanistan and Syria, but also stable economies such as Albania and the Bahamas, suggesting a multifaceted criterion beyond mere economic indicators. For those navigating visa types, the distinction between immigrant and non-immigrant is a lifeline. While the former stalls, the latter flows, opening doors for temporary stays that could evolve. In addressing interviews, the embassy's leniency for pre-announcement schedules is a procedural mercy, potentially salvaging cases on the cusp. For pending passports, the variability underscores the importance of proactive communication. The absence of a timeline amplifies anxiety, but historical precedents suggest such measures can shift with political winds or legal challenges. Delving deeper into exceptions, dual nationality isn't just a perk, it's a strategic asset, allowing rerouting through unaffected channels. National interest exceptions, modeled on prior frameworks, prioritize contributions to U.S. vitality, especially in underserved fields like healthcare, where shortages persist. Being physically in the U.S. shifts the paradigm entirely, as domestic processing bypasses consular bottlenecks. The non-impact on administrative renewals ensures continuity for existing residents. K-1's apparent immunity is tentative, but promising, warranting swift action. The non-immigrant pivot requires careful planning to avoid intent misrepresentations, but offers a legitimate bridge. Action steps are designed for immediacy. Verification prevents assumptions. Attendance preserves momentum. Transfers leverage dualities. Waivers demand evidence. Adjustments secure positions. Travel caution averts complications. And information vigilance adapts to evolutions. Hope isn't platitudinous. It's grounded in precedents of overcoming restrictions through diligence. Engage via comments for community insights, support through likes and subs to amplify, and contact for personalized strategies. Our track record in waivers and approvals speaks volumes. In summation, while the freeze's breadth is daunting, its gaps are navigable with knowledge and resolve. The Trump administration's policy, effective January 21, 2026, targets immigrant visas from 75 nations due to public charge fears, affecting family and some employment paths, but sparing non-immigrants. Countries span globally, detailed in our resource. Interviews proceed if pre-scheduled, approvals vary, duration unknown. Exceptions include dual citizenship, national interest, in-country adjustments, K-1s, and non-immigrant entries. Act now, checklists, attend sessions, pursue waivers, file internally, stay informed. This challenge, like others, yields to perseverance. For US Visa Info viewers, remember, pathways persist. The announcement's ripple effects extend to emotional tolls, but equipping oneself with facts mitigates despair. The freeze's specificity to consular processing abroad creates internal opportunities. Public charge rationale, while controversial, frames the policy's intent. Lists inclusivity surprises many, from Bhutan to Barbados. Visa clarifications dispel myths. Tourists, workers, students proceed. Questions on interviews highlight procedural continuities. Passport scenarios demand vigilance. Indefinite duration calls for preparedness. Dual nationality exemplifies adaptability. National interest underscores U.S. needs. In-country status is a fortress. Unaffected processes maintain stability. K1 offers romantic reunions. Non-immigrant strategies require eligibility. Steps provide a roadmap. Hope draws from successes. Community engagement fosters support. Subscriptions ensure updates. Consultations deliver solutions. Ultimately, the American dream adapts. To expand, consider the policy's broader context. Amid economic recoveries, immigration controls tighten, yet exceptions reflect humanitarian balances. Affected families face separations, but loopholes like waivers restore hope. For instance, healthcare professionals from Morocco or Nepal could qualify, bolstering U.S. systems. Dual nationals from Armenia with European ties bypass effortlessly. Students from Algeria on F1s adjust later. The freeze's exemptions reveal its non-absolute nature. Actionable advice: document everything, consult experts, monitor updates. U.S. Visa Info commits to guidance. The script's essence lies in empowerment through information, transforming shock into strategy. By following these paths, many will prevail. In closing, embrace resilience.